Hello?
The Ed.
Hello?
The Ed.
Yeah.
Hey, it's Dave Dameshek. How are you?
Hey, what you doing?
As usual, when we get in touch, I'm doing the podcast right now.
Okay.
What do you?
Radio show, huh?
Right. What are you doing?
Looking at Jerry Springer right now.
At Jerry Springer. Oh, really? See, I guess I'm pretty out of it when it comes to daytime TV. I wasn't even aware that was still going.
Yeah, it says what happens in a trailer park stays in the trailer park.
Oh, really? That's another clever theme for that show. You a big fan of that one?
Nah, I don't like that show too much. I just ain't changed the channel yet.
I see. What is your...
Probably watch Sports Center here in a minute.
Oh, well, that's always a good choice there. As a matter of fact, I love all the college basketball that ESPN's been showing, huh?
Yeah, I know. You know they had basketball all through the middle of the night.
I know, it was great.
You had to wake up early and play ball at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Was that so bad? That's kind of neat, isn't it? It's an interesting way to start off the season. It's a long season. This is a fun way to engage everybody.
Yeah, they should probably do that a lot.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of college basketball, here's an interesting philosophical question for you. Is what do you think of Coach Bob Knight? Would you ever say you have 5 sons there? Would you be interested in any of those kids if they were good enough to play Division I basketball? What if they went to play for Coach Knight?
I'd be honest, that guy's one of the greatest coaches, if not the best coach ever.
Well, I agree. You're preaching to the choir, but a lot of parents say, I would never want my son to play for him.
Well, because most of these people are sissies now, Oh, don't yell at my son. Don't yell at my daughter. Oh, she's going to cry.
Right. Well, Coach Knight really didn't have anything to do with daughters. But, right, yeah, I get your larger point there. Yeah. Society's gone soft.
Girls play basketball, too, now.
They do,
You know what really burns me up, though,
What's that? No.
I mean, I'm probably getting off your subject, but how do they say that this lady from Tennessee...
Yeah, Pat Summitt.
They compare her to men's basketball coaches. It's a whole totally different sport.
Well, listen, I mean, I would be interesting, wouldn't it, to see her coach? I mean, that's been floated around a couple of times.
Saying she's one of the greatest coaches of all time in basketball.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's not true.
You say no to that. So you don't think she would be able to translate her success with women's basketball to men's basketball?
No, because she's like John Wooden, okay?
Uh-huh.
John Wooden is overrated as a coach.
Really?
Because when he was a coach, there wasn't that many good teams to go to, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So he had all the good players, had all the money to pay him and all that stuff like that.
Well, that's you're alleging things that aren't true.
No. You might say that, but it's true.
All right.
And he got all the good players to come there, and they all played for him. But then when all this scholarship stuff started happening for every school, everybody started weeding it out, and they started getting alumni paying players and all that stuff like that. And then
I don't think. May I just say, I don't think that there's you have any proof that anybody cheated. Those are wild, reckless accusations you're making.
Well, you know it.
No, well, listen, I don't know about that. All right, so Coach Bob Knight, you would be interested in one of your sons playing for him if they had been good enough at basketball.
Yes, they could play for him anytime.
Okay. All right. Very good. And let's talk about a little NFL football, Ed. And because I know that you are a gambling man, and I thought you might have some thoughts on what happened on Sunday at Heinz Field. There, of course, the point spread was 5 in favor of the Steelers. And that last play, did you happen to catch that game? The Troy Polamalu knocks the lateral down and then picks it up, runs it into the end zone, apparently giving the Steelers a 17-10 victory, and then covering the spread. Then they called that off. They reversed it, and now since the league is saying that was a mistake, and now we have to review our entire review policy, replay policy. What did you think of that?
Well, I mean, the referees don't. We're finding out the referees don't know all the rules. And just the second time this year that's happened. Isn't that the second time in a Charger game?
Oh, it's an interesting point. Yeah, you're right. Ed Hockley.
Ed Hockley.
Ed Hockley.
Yeah, he messed around, and both times, which team lost?
The Chargers. So you're saying this is no coincidence then, Ed?
I don't know, because that Charger team, if you look at a piece of paper and you see them kids' names down on that paper, you think just give them the Super Bowl.
You really? So going into the season, you thought Phillip Rivers is ready to lead that team all the way?
Well, I thought LaDainian Tomlinson will get back to his old form, and, you know, they just look like a good team. You know, I always pick the Colts, but those guys look like a good team.
Yeah. Well, what about your Colts? We haven't spoken since the game the previous Sunday in Heinz Field.
Oh, yeah, who they beat a couple weeks ago.
Well, you know very well who they beat.
Yeah, they slaughtered. They went to Pittsburgh, and they just beat the heck out of some team. What team was that?
Well, you know full well that it was the Steelers, but I think you're remembering it incorrectly if you say that they slaughtered them. I mean, listen, it
was a blowout.
It wasn't a blowout, so you can stop saying that. Listen, number 7, Big Ben.
Don't be a sore loser. Just admit that you lost.
Listen, I'm following in the footsteps.
Tell me right now your team's a loser.
I won't do that. The Steelers right now are 7-3, so why would I say that? I'm not going to lie to appease
what happened
you.
When they played the Colts?
Well, which time? Because we can talk about when they met in the playoffs 3 years ago, and the Colts were heavy favorites.
Cheated.
Right.
When they cheated.
Cheated? Well,
that guy's wife stabbed him in the leg, and then the night before
that's ridiculous.
The game,
that's absurd.
Then he picks up the ball to run it, and he can't run because he got a knife wound sticking out of his leg.
That's silly now. I mean, because listen, Nick Harper, whatever domestic problems he had nothing to do with the Steelers, and in fact, the Steelers dominated that game. It was lucky that the Colts even had a chance of winning.
I heard that his wife now dates a trainer for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
You've heard no such thing. That's not true at all. I think that's silly. Again, more reckless accusations, unfounded. Yet it's a little silly. But anyway, look, number 7, Big Ben himself admitted he didn't have a great game. He threw 2 terrible interceptions. Were it not for that, you should be happy because your Colts would probably be on the outside looking in at the playoffs right now.
Well, listen, you know what? And somebody wrote on your little message thing you got, the Steelers got all these injuries. You know what? The Colts have had 42 players on the injured list this year. I mean, Peyton Manning hasn't even been right. They're finally getting right, and you're going to see Super Bowl.
I don't think that's likely for them, but I will say Joe Adai got it going last Sunday, and so maybe there is some call for optimism there. But let's be fair; they got lucky in Heinz Field that number 7 threw those 2 terrible interceptions.
The Steelers got lucky. Against the Chargers.
So did you have? I mean, what did you think of that? Did you have a little something on that?
If you don't score a touchdown, you shouldn't be able to win the game.
It's an interesting point, but speaks to how good the defense is, though, right?
Well, it was snowing, and the Chargers.
Yeah.
The Chargers always get bad luck, like with Dan Fouts and John Jefferson, all them kids like that, when they had to go to Cincinnati and below
1981,
80 or something like that.
It wasn't 80 below, but yes, it was very cold there, and that was in fact the week after they played in that terrible humidity down in Miami, and they played that great double overtime game.
Chargers always get the bad end of the deal.
I don't know if it's a bad end of the deal. It's just, they have to deal better with the circumstances that are put before them. But, I mentioned double overtime, that game, and that leads me to another question. What did you think of, as a diehard NFL fan, Ed, what did you make of Donovan McNabb?
That guy's nuts.
He didn't know the overtime rule in the NFL? He's only been in the league for, 10 years now or something like that? He doesn't know what the overtime rule is?
And now that's why I'm on T.O.'s side in that feud with him and McNabb.
Oh, are you?
Because that guy can't possibly lead a team to a Super Bowl win if he doesn't even know the regular rules of the game.
Well, yeah.
You're going to tell me he don't know 10 yards is a first down.
I don't know if that's true. Yeah, it calls into question all that sort of thing.
The coach try to say, it's his fault. No. How is it the coach's fault? He should know. Well, you know what? The coach should get fired, and they should cut McMahon. Because, listen,
they should cut him now, is what you're saying.
Cut him. He doesn't know what's going on in America. He's done.
In America? Well, I don't know about that. He just didn't know the overtime rule. I don't know about America.
And they said a bunch of the Eagles didn't know it.
Really? Well, listen, to fair's fair, 6 years ago.
School systems in Philadelphia. I don't understand.
Well, how about this? 6 years ago, when the Steelers and Falcons played to the last tie in the NFL, a lot of the Steelers, I remember, didn't know that the overtime rule, that the game ended after that extra quarter. They thought it went to an extra one.
They should put that on that Wonder Bread quiz they give them at the beginning of the year. That should be on there.
Oh, the Wonderlick test. I didn't know what you were talking about. The Wonder Bread test. No, the Wonderlick it's called.
They should put that on question and see. And if you miss it, you should have to give back half your sign-up bonus.
That seems like a weird thing. I'm not a legal guy, but I don't think you'd probably be able to get away with that.